your public relations program that deals with issues of development. We're interested in Nigerians living well. We're interested in the economic development of the nation. We're interested in Nigeria being in the community of nations and transcending beyond the mediocrity level that we have. Of course, our topic still remains energy issues in Nigeria. The solutions, we're interested in the solutions. We need stakeholders to come together and do a visioning, looking forward, getting Nigeria to a stable. I still have Ustaz Lawal Jibril with me, and last week he was analyzing series of issues that bedevil Nigeria, where we are today. But this time around, we want to go ahead. We want to look into the commercial nature of energy. Is there a problem? Can individuals continue to take the gauntlet? Can companies begin to take advantage of the liberal environment, the legislation that has been brought about? Can state government also continue to, take the bull by the horn and begin to build power stations and the like for Nigeria? Ustaz, you're welcome once again.
Thank you so much. Last week we dealt with some of this area, and I was only we emphasized on the technical environment of the power industry, where we had issues. In that program, we realized that we're able to understand that we are not having enough investment in the industry. There is an infrastructure gap, which requires a lot of investment, which the way things are, those that are in charge of energy cannot afford. If we leave everything for the federal government, they cannot afford what it takes to give us energy in Nigeria, because the infrastructure gap is huge. I just give an example. Like in Abeokuta, what you call injection substation is little. We have just about 3 or 4 that I can remember, and I've named them. We need more than that. It would be wrong for you to say that every power that is going to Elega is coming from Abiola Way. You run it through 33. And there is one small power transformer, I think, in Elewe, I'm not too sure again. But that's the challenge. So those areas need injection substations, because we have a lot of communities coming up now that need them. So the infrastructure gap is huge.
Well, when we look at the infrastructure gap, perhaps we need to come to terms with the damages that has been done. What were the damage done to citizens, to business, and like?
Of course,
we need to analyze it.
Of course, when we have such, the truth of the matter is that the citizens will be at the receiving end, and that's why you see that the Russian light. When you go to when you go to a power station in a day and see what they are doing, you understand. There are a lot of gadgets they are looking at, panels, they are looking at monitors that are telling them what power is going where. And when it goes beyond certain element, it trips off. So they have to trip it up before it trips off.
What is the effect on business?
That is what I'm saying. And that is why there are challenges with people, they don't have light in their homes. That's why they tell them light has gone. Oh, they brought light. We ration you. We are giving you 3 hours of light here. We are giving you 10 hours of light. That was what eventually led into the band A, band B, band C problem. It's because of the fact that what you have is not enough. We have to ration it. What I'm saying is that
even with the band A solution.
Yes, I'm coming there. I want us to first and foremost understand and ground this fact that it is because of the infrastructure gap.
Time is against us.
I know. The infrastructure gap we have is why we have those problems. Now, how do we now make up those gaps? Now it is investment. I'm not saying that the federal government, even with the state government, cannot put everything that is needed into that industry.
So what's the solution?
Now the solution is that we need private individuals to come in, and that's a partnership. That is happening already. We have a little of this world that is already, I think the Pacific, the Adeleke is from Oshun, they have the man from Otedola. They are going into Gencos, but all of them are now trying to move into distribution. Now, because AEDC cannot afford to pay back the loan of UBA, UBA has taken over Abuja Electricity Company, AEDC. In other words, they are now coming into distribution. When they come into distribution, they can now invest. Now, what I want Nigerians to understand is that they might need to pay more. And that's the truth.
I don't think Nigerians are afraid to pay more if we have an efficient supply.
I'm happy about that. And I just pray that the labor unions will understand that Nigerians need to pay more. But now, we are paying more and not getting the returns. That's the challenge.
And that's the concern.
That's why I said I have issue with the discourse saying Nigerians are thieves, that is energy theft. No, it's not energy theft. It is because they are not giving the light to the people, but they are charging them. They are asking people to pay for what they have not enjoyed. And that's the challenge why Nigerians are refusing to pay. What I'm saying in essence is, when they are able to bring up, for instance...
Let me quickly interject here.
Okay, sir.
The energy system is supposed to be digital by now. We should do away with analog system where you still be giving estimated bill and then giving people coming to read something. So that's another cog in the wheel. Why can't PSCN or federal government supply meters to Nigerians and then they get paid? This
is what I'm saying. We need to start disorientating ourselves from this federal government. We need to start looking at where we have, private organizations taking over our power industry. And that is the way to go, sir. If you want solution in that industry, federal government must let go a lot of things for private individuals to come in and take it up.
I listened to the Minister of Power.
Yes.
Recently.
Yes.
Answering questions and saying that metering issue is an area that Nigerian companies are not capable of handling, that they do not have the resources and the technical know-how, and that meters have had to be sourced.
I'm not saying no to that.
So why can't we develop?
I'm not saying no. What I'm saying is that we need to bring, innovation into the financing of the energy industry. What I'm saying is, if federal government decides we want to let go, and we want private organizations to come in, and they know that whatever they invest in the industry, they will get their money back. They will find the money, they will source for funding to do the needful.
If it's happening in other climes,
yes.
Why can't it happen here in Nigeria?
Thank you, sir. That's what I'm saying. So federal government,
that's the corruption we are talking about.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that government should answer quite a number of these issues. Give it out to people that are willing. Now, state government, in last edition, you mentioned state government are coming. I said, no, they are not coming in the way that will give us result. A number of them are just forming their own, passing their energy bill into law and then having, their own distribution and etc. Apart from Lagos, that gave room. The way Lagos State came about their law, they gave room for private participation, for people to come in, and that is the way forward.
I think in the South, there's also, either in the South or South, there's also a state government that has already developed power.
Exactly.
And land they're having 24 hours.
Yes, it's not in all area.
Okay.
It's the mini grid system.
Okay.
But that can be expanded. What I'm saying in essence is, federal government should look towards wanting to unsolve power in Nigeria. You see, it costs so much, and a lot of money is in it. Look at Elumelu.
Is it the problem of the federal government or the National Assembly?
Both, because they are arms to each other, they assist each other. What I'm saying
because the members of parliament are supposed to have that vision.
But eventually there is a law already that allows people to come into the industry. But what is not so certain is that they are not sure of their returns. And that's why I'm saying that federal government need to answer.
So what confidence level do they need?
Now, for instance, we have seen the Gencos that are claiming they are having huge returns, almost 100% of their investment, rolling into them. But they said out of that, federal government, I mean, the money for gas, etc., is still there. Under the embed system, we are in the GENCOs, I mean, the DISCOs will take, when you pay them, they will pass one to TCN, they will take their own, pass one to GENCOs. What I'm saying is, can we have a system where somebody says, look, I am generating power, I am transmitting and distributing to the people that wants to use it, and I'm in charge of whatever happens to me. In other words, my destiny is in my hand. Not the present system that the GENCOs are depending on the whatever DISCOs realizes. I don't know where you are getting it. I'm the one generating. I will transmit, distribute to homes that want to be on my power, and I'll take my money from them, and I know that I'm safe in their hands. Those are the kind of thinking that use your power and metering. I don't see why a private individual wants to buy power from them.
You know my concern? My concern is that citizens should not be having headache on how all those things become feasible. It is the responsibility of the National Assembly and responsibility of the executive to prefer solutions.
Yes.
And come up with strategic.
Sir, do you know why we are having these challenges now? Why what I'm describing is not playing out? Because there are people that are benefiting from the present system. And that is come back to your issue of corruption and some human element. FGN power something, where we have a new structure that is into infrastructure alone. They build infrastructure in areas where it has identified that, look, there is deficit here. Can we build this here? They are doing that. In Abeokuta, for instance, a 330 station is coming up very soon. At a new Abeokuta, Siemens is running that. There is one grid on Ayede, somewhere in the southwest, and like that. So they want to ensure that they build up, the gap, the infrastructure gap.
Okay, enough of all that. What's the uproar about this renewable energy?
It's solar. It's part of the future. But the truth of the matter is that it does not have the capacity, at least for now in Nigeria, to withstand what we will get from hydro or a gas station. I mean, a thermal energy that is coming from our stations. But they don't have that for now. The capacity is very expensive and not sustainable the way things are now.
Why do you say it's not sustainable?
Because of the initial investment. And for instance, if you buy a power transformer for, let's say, 150 million, I'm giving an example, it will be there for like 20, 30 years. They are there, but nothing happens to them. But when you build your solar, universities, hospitals, etc., what I'm saying is, for us to be able to power our industry that requires huge amount of electricity, we will need to look beyond solar. We need to develop, a formidable energy system, which is going to come from various dams that we have, the degradation we have to the environment based on the emission that is coming into the environment. But my own thinking is that we cannot be asked to stop, what will make us to develop when the other power nations are doing it. Yeah, there is what we call carbon credits now, and etc. Yes, Nigeria will get that. But we need to get into an area whereby we are able to develop our own industry, and there is no industry that can be developed without the power. I don't see why we cannot look into using nuclear power plant to generate, electricity. Because it has a lot of advantages that we can generate. We can
also be used for many other
purposes. So that's why I'm thinking that we need to keep on. I don't think this idea of emission into the environment, environmental issues and factors should be, the nukes should be around our neck.
There has been an argument that it's more of the other nations, Western world, than in Africa.
Of course.
And that somehow, I think Africa should also be compensated.
Of course.
For the damage being done in Africa
by the foreigners regarding their activities that is happening in our place.
What's your view on that?
But my take is a simple one. They cannot now want to tie our hands, from being able to develop because of the challenge that they created. And they've not been able to even stop it now. The emission from China into the environment is still huge. The emission from America to the environment is huge. Trump is challenging leader to be able to say this is the way we are going. The issue of crude for Naira, recently people have been asking what has happened, why was President Tinubu dilly-dallying about it. A lot of international politics goes into it. Don't forget that we call petrodollar. That's why it is. They control a lot of these things. When you suddenly want to destroy that market for them, there are a lot of challenges that will come up. But all these are just theories of conspiracy. But the truth of the matter is that some element of the foreign powers are still controlling quite a number of our leaders in Africa, and the freedom is not totally there. And I think this is a big challenge for us.
If India could overcome, why can't Africans?
Yes, I agree with you. If India could overcome, but we all knew what they went through, and we saw the way India got their own independence. The bloodshed that took place in India was not the kind of thing that took place here. When you look at South Africa, the way they went about getting their independence is really, it's telling. Some of us got on the platter of gold, but we are now realizing that it's not a platter of gold.
Your view on the solar energy
well,
to be provided for the presidency?
Well, for now, looking at the amount of money Nigerian government is paying to fund what do you call it, the villa, I don't think it's a bad idea to want to bring solar into that environment for them to have sustainable energy. When you look at how much government is paying now to the discos, to power villa, to have their constant light, I don't think it's a bad way to it. But the truth of the matter is it will be the eventual solution to our problem. And if all of us at home can equally think of want to have a solar energy in our homes, I don't see why we will prevent, and they're equally establishing it for universities and other institutions.
There are several investors that are enjoying them now.
Of course, and courtesy of Nigerian government.
There's one in Funab now.
Yes, courtesy of federal government.
The mega one.
So if they can do that for those ones, why can't they do one for villa?
Well, it is still your image, your public relations program on TV. We are dealing with that Nigeria will be better. We will get it right. Ustaz has given us the analysis why we are having issues and why there's need for public-private